Alright, so today I'm going to be beating the entire base game of Cuphead, not the DLC yet. I'll probably be doing that in a later video, with my weapon, charm, and super randomized. Some bosses were pretty easy to beat, and others gave me severe pain and made me suffer. Anyways, let's go over the rules for this challenge. So the first rule, I have to beat all bosses on expert mode, and get an S rank whenever possible, because some weapons take a really long time, and mixing charms and whatever, and it's not really possible to get a time requirement needed. Rule number 2, I'm not allowed to use 2 weapons, so I cannot switch weapons, like to make a boss easier for myself using another weapon. And rule number 3, I'm allowed to skip plain bosses, because those bosses only have 2 weapons and the same supers, so there wouldn't be much of a difference. And rule number 4, I cannot respin the wheel. So if I get a weapon, I have to use that weapon, and I cannot switch. I cannot switch my weapon until I complete the boss fight. And those are the rules for the challenge, so let's get on to the first boss of the challenge, the Root Pack. Alright, so here we are, first boss of the challenge, the Root Pack. And the first phase really wasn't that hard. It was just jumping over the projectiles and then getting the parries I needed, so I didn't really need to parry anything else. And the pea sugar made it easier to parry because I really just needed to jump and then it would automatically parry for me. So yeah, that's really it for the first phase. And then phase 2 was easier than phase 1. I just needed to move left and right to dodge the tears. And the last phase of the boss is the carrot, and he was easy also. I mean, what are you expecting? It's a Root Pack. The crack shot made it easy to clear out the carrots, and I just needed to dodge the yellow rings that he shot at me. And I popped my invincibility super out, so I got all my EX requirements, and that was really it. So with the Root Pack done, we're moving on to the next boss. Alright, so for Rivian Croaks, we got Chaser, which has absolute shit damage, so we didn't even hit the time requirement for this boss. But anyways, so this phase was really just longer than usual because of how garbage Chaser is, but I guess one thing it was good for was clearing out the fireflies, but it didn't even do that well. So, yeah, it just took a little longer to do this phase, and then we were on to the second phase. Alright, well I meant to say it was the last phase, because the second phase was mostly just the same stuff, but for the last phase, we can't even attack him unless we parry his fist. So, yeah, we couldn't have that much opportunity to damage him with Chaser, so this phase probably took the longest out of all of them. Well, so we got the bull and the tiger twice. Well, the bull twice and the tiger twice. And it was really just dodging, pretty much. And I used my invincibility during this phase too. So, yeah, we pretty much did get all the requirements except that time requirement. It basically took 3 minutes to beat the boss, so yeah, that's really it for Rivian Croaks. Not much left to say, so let's move on to Goopy Legrand. Alright, so Goopy Legrand. I mean, he was really easy also. He only has one move where he just jumps around, and then he occasionally I don't even know what he does. He extends his face toward you. But we had charge shots, so we were able to get massive damage on him, and we were pretty much able to make light work of phase 1 and 2. And we were also able to use our heart ring charm to be able to get 2 extra hit points, because Goopy Legrand only has 3 parries the entire boss, and they're all in one group. So we were able to have 5 health, so that made it even easier to beat him. And then it was just more moving left and right, dodging his attacks, and Goopy Legrand was defeated. So now it's time for the final boss of Aisle 1, Cagney Carnation. Am's his plant move, so there's a bunch of enemies on screen at the same time. And I got hit a couple times for that. And I was originally jumping to hit him because lava wouldn't just hit him if you were just standing there. But then I later on found that they just block diagonally, and the lava would angle toward him, so I was able to hit him easier. So yeah, after I got that down, I was on to the final phase. And then once I made it here, it was basically just dodging. It wasn't that bad, really. Just getting a parry once in a while, and then using the X. And then Cagney Carnation was defeated. So with that, all 4 of the Aisle 1 bosses are done. And now there are 3 Aisle 2 bosses for us to defeat. So let's start with the first boss, Baroness von Bombo. Alright, so kicking off aisle 2, we have Baroness von Bonbon. So the first mini boss we got with the Jawbreakers, which wasn't really that bad. And I got Roundabout, which is a gun I normally use, so this boss in general wasn't really that bad. And I had an extra hit point too. So then we got the Waffle after that. The Waffle wasn't bad. It's usually it's mostly the same stuff. Mostly the same stuff with this boss. But then we got EDP's favorite food, the Cupcake, which is my least favorite one to fight, so yeah, that was annoying to do. But we got through the mini bosses, so then we were on to the last form, which I used my super to get some more damage off of it, because she was standing still. Usually she's moving, but I was able to get the super off on right there. And then I did get hit once. I managed to get hit, but it was hard to damage the head, so I mean it was hard to dodge the head, so yeah. But after like a minute of dodging, I was finally able to pull through and beat Baroness. Alright, so this boss battle was a little bit different than the rest because I pulled the Divine Relic Charm, which already randomizes your weapon and your charm. So, and I randomized and got Converge. So what I did was, basically I kept shooting until I got Converge, and I was not allowed to make it randomize my weapon again. I had to have Converge the whole time, which meant I could not use any EX moves the whole battle. So yeah, that was annoying, but I mean, Converge is a pretty decent weapon, so I was able to do pretty good throughout the entire fight. I mean, yeah, but it was kind of annoying trying to pull Converge, because like I'd pull it and I'd accidentally damage him with another weapon. So yeah, that was annoying, but other than that, that really wasn't that bad. Converge did a good job of clearing out the penguins on the last form. And yeah, now let's move on to the final boss, Grim Matchstick. Alright, so originally I was like, oh, Chaser, okay, so I'm not outstrengthing this boss, but turns out it was a lot more annoying. Chaser was the worst possible weapon I could have gone for this fight. And it's because of his third phase. His first and second phase basically just took super long and they were annoying to do with Chaser. But his third phase, basically he shoots out fireballs, which if you shoot them, then it's like harder to dodge them. They split 4 ways. And Chaser homes into those things, so I'm just playing it safe, and I wasn't shooting at all when he used a fireball. So I was only able to shoot when he was using that flamethrower gas mask move. So this phase took like 2-3 minutes, I forget exactly, but yeah, it was a long time, and it was annoying as hell to do. But I was able to barely win 1 HP left. So yeah, Grim Matchstick is done. Thank God. And thank God I got the invincibility super too. If I got another super, I probably wouldn't be that good. But yeah, now it's time for Aisle 3, which consists of 5 bosses. Alright, kicking off Aisle 3, we have Rupert Honeybottoms, one of my least favorite bosses in the entire game. But it's fine, since we got Crack Shot, which is way easier to hit my shots with. And we got the Divine Relic again, so no EX moves. But yeah, the boss wasn't actually that bad. I mean, Divine Relic mixes all the charms together, so I was able to just get 3 parries, so I could get 6 HP. So I was fine on HP. And it was mostly just dodging her attacks and all that. And phase 3 was actually easy because of Crack Shot. So yeah, Rupert Honeybottoms was not actually a problem. So, because we got a good loadout, but now it's time to move on to our next boss. Oh my god, I am so tired of getting this garbage weapon Chaser. Well, looks like we're doing another boss fight with Chaser and Divine Relic. Hopefully this is the last time. But, yeah, Werner Vermin was kind of just... Werner Vermin is always easy to do. Like, it's just annoying, because in the beginning, I need to only get the Chaser. I can't get any other weapon from that relic. And then Relic mixes a charm. I was able to get health by parrying. And phase 2 was just dodging. I did get hit once, but I had heart ring, so it was fine. And then phase 3 wasn't bad either. It was kind of just the same stuff, but everything takes longer because it's Chaser and it has horrible damage. But yeah, so far our loadouts actually haven't been that bad, except for like Grip Matchstick and stuff. But hopefully we get more lucky later on. But yeah, time to move on to our next boss. Alright, so Captain Brainbeard, third boss of IO3. Besides from taking a bunch of stupid hits, this boss wasn't actually that bad. I mean, I had Charge Shot, so I was able to get massive damage on him. And I got to the second phase, like where the boats start shooting the cannonballs pretty quickly. So yeah, and he shoots out a bunch of parries immediately on first phase, so I was able to get the parry requirement easily. And then once we got to the last phase, it was kind of annoying. Because like, the shots wouldn't hit the tongue if you were just standing still. So you had to like be constantly jumping to be able to hit him. So yeah, other than just having to jump, dodge the barrel, dodge the laser, it wasn't really that bad of a fight. I mean, yeah. So we got 2 more bosses left for IO3. So let's get on to the next boss. Alright, Sally Stageplay with Twist Up for the first time. I got Twist Up and Twin Heart, but anyways, for Sally Stageplay, she's kind of annoying to do. Because you need to get 2 parries on the first form, so I had to make sure she did the heart move at least 2 times before I moved on. And sometimes she only did it once, so I restarted a bunch. But yeah, that's really it for phase 1. Phase 2 is just dodging, but it's really annoying. So I was trying not to get myself locked in a corner, because then I would get hit definitely. But Twin Heart does reduce your damage also, by the way, so yeah. Phase 3, I was just trying to stay under her, and would Twist Up to hit it, get as much damage as I can off of her. And the final phase of this boss was annoying too. I used my invincibility to pretty much get all the damage off of her, and to get that last parry, because you could only get parries in like phase 1 and 4. Unless you did the secret phase in phase 2, which I didn't do. But we did beat it in 2 minutes and 5 seconds, but we did still get the S rank. So yeah, Sally Stageplay's done, and now it's time to go to the final boss of IO3, the Phantom Express. So remember when I said that some of these bosses gave me extreme pain and suffering in the beginning of the video? Well, this is definitely one of them. Pea Shooter was one of the worst possible weapons that could have gone for this boss. This was so annoying. It took me 50 minutes to complete this. But anyways, phase 1 was annoying because of the eyeballs. It was so annoying to clear them out with Pea Shooter. Then it was just bad. But phase 2 wasn't actually that bad because you just gotta shoot up really and aim and go between the hands when you're not on the correct track or whatever. And those stupid pumpkins kept moving me to the wrong areas. It was so annoying. But phase 3 also wasn't that bad, but yeah, because I just need to aim diagonally and then dodge the attacks that were coming at me, and it wasn't, yeah, that was it. And then the final phase was actually so annoying. I failed on this multiple times. But basically you got parry the tail on the end of the train, and then his heart opens up, which is a hitbox, and that literally took, it was so annoying because it was constantly moving around. And eventually, after a bunch of dodging and a bunch of attempts, I finally beat the Phantom Express with Pea Shooter. So yeah, after that torture, we're now on to Inkwell Hell with King Dice. Alright, King Dice, second to last boss of the game. And we got Spread Shot for the first time. So my strategy was basically to get the easiest possible mini bosses for Spread. So the 3 bosses I went for were the Tipsy Troop, Pip and Dot, and Mangosteen. Because those 3 bosses are definitely the easiest to do with Spread. So yeah, first was the Tipsy Troop, which wasn't bad. I tried to get some parries and whatever, and just needed to get close to them. So yeah, then Pip and Dot wasn't that bad either. It was probably the hardest boss out of everyone because of the moving conveyor and all the projectiles. But yeah, after I got the hang of it, Pip and Dot was done. Then Mango Scene is literally just so easy. You just stand there pretty much and then you'll kill him. So, and then we're on to King Dice, the final boss. And it's basically just parry timing. And since we had Spread Shot, we were able to get up close to him while parrying to deal some good damage. And I used the super and some more parrying, and King Dice was defeated. So with King Dice defeated, we have one more boss left, the Devil himself. Alright, here we are, the Devil. We've made it to the end. Well, alright, so we got Lava for this boss, which is okay, I guess, but it's kind of annoying. I was able to set up some damage traps though, like when you use this dragon move, if you shoot upward, the lava lingers in the spot for a little bit, so I was able to get some extra damage there. But those purple guys that kept coming out were so annoying. Like I would constantly get hit by them. And then sometimes I get hit by them off screen when I get pushed to the corner, so I gotta like jump over them off screen. But yeah, I used some EX moves to stay in the air longer to get extra damage, and the pea sugar helped with my parrying. And yeah, that was it for phase 1. And then once I made it here, it was originally kind of hard for me to hit the eye consistently, because he was moving around sometimes. But I found out if you just stay in the corner and then walk diagonally, then it will aim towards his eye. So I was able to get some pretty consistent damage from there. And then I was just dodging for that section. Then we move on to another annoying phase. It's because of those blue flying bats in the sky that just kept randomly coming down, and it kept taking random hits from them, and that was so annoying. This boss took like an hour, by the way, which was the longest out of any boss that I did to complete. But yeah, it was mostly dodging again, trying to shoot down and everything, so I didn't have to worry about as much dodging. And the final phase, I just used my invincibility super, and it was pretty much free. I just stood there and shot. And then, there we go, the Devil has been defeated. So that means we have completed every single main game boss in Cuphead with our randomized weapon, charm, and super. Thank you everyone for watching me do this challenge. And if this video gets decent likes or comments, then I'll do this for the DLC also. So yeah, I'll probably just do the DLC anyway. But thanks for watching. You can leave a like or a dislike if you thought the challenge was too easy. But yeah, thank you all for watching and have a great day.